So we'll begin with item number 1 is SCA 8.
Security.
Thank you, Senator Morlock. So,
Mr. Chair, thanks for being here. We'll start with SCA 8. Mr. Chair, this would modify what is known as the California rule. It is the position of public employee defined benefit pension plans that benefits can be improved but not reduced prospectively unless a comparable or better benefit is offered. In the world of financial planning, it would be next to impossible to find a better or comparable product at a lower cost than a defined benefit pension plan. Consequently, government defined benefit plans have not seen a prospective decrease in formulas for more than 60 years. For public safety employees, a retirement formula of 1% at 50 was the norm 60 years ago. It took a long effort to move it to 1.5% at 50 and then to 2% at 50, and then quickly it jumped to 3% at 50 with Senate Bill 400 in 1999. And it was retroactive to the date of hire, a 50% increase overnight. It was dramatic. Nearly two decades later, and we see that the biggest fiscal threat to government agencies is the growing defined benefit pension liabilities. Even Governor Brown will concur on this point. When we did dinner, he said the two things that had him most concerned was climate change and the defined benefit pension plan liabilities. So, Mr. Chair, California has the largest unrestricted net deficit in the nation, due in significant part to its unfunded actuarially accrued liabilities. It's $168.5 billion. That's a pretty substantial deficit. You add that to the deficit of the UC system, which is $19 billion, the CSU system, which is $3 billion, the 72 community college districts combined is $5.5 billion. Our cities net, 482 incorporated cities, is another $168.5 billion. And our counties net, the unrestricted net deficit is $42.6 billion. We just reviewed over the break the 939 school districts. Their net unrestricted net deficit is $50.5 billion. We add this all together, hard numbers coming from comprehensive, the CAFRs, the comprehensive annual financial reports. It's a $457.6 billion deficit that we're facing cumulatively in this state, and I haven't even gone to special districts or others. So, Mr. Chair, we have a $500 billion issue that this legislature has to face. Next summer, the numbers will be even worse because GASB, the Government Accounting Standards Board, will require in the June 2018 comprehensive annual financial reports to include retiree medical liabilities that are unfunded on their balance sheets. For instance, what this would do to, say, the UC system, it would double their unrestricted net deficit from $19 billion to $38 billion just with one journal entry. Only having an up elevator for granting pension benefits means an unsustainable pension system will implode. For the benefit of employees at every level of government in California, we need a down button to allow for fiscal workouts and turnarounds. Last year, California's First District Court of Appeal ruled that public retirement benefits can be reduced prospectively in Marin Association of Public Employees versus the Marin County Employee Retirement Association. The Marin decision is now before the state Supreme Court. Governor Brown has even weighed in supporting the appellate court ruling. We've been waiting for a decision, and since it hasn't come, we're here today just before the close of session. But the governor has been pushing for it. Now that this session is coming to a close, I'm presenting SCA 8 because the Supreme Court has not ruled and daylight is burning. Struggling defined benefit plans are not unique to the Golden State. Illinois would be a good example for all of us to observe. Articles coming with regards to the city of Chicago and the rest of the state are rather dramatic. Filing for Chapter 9 bankruptcy will provide the ability to restructure bargaining unit contracts for cities, schools, counties, not for the state. But this is a very, very expensive route to take. Trust me, I know, I've been there through the bankruptcy filing of the County of Orange. SCA 8 would give California voters an opportunity to weigh in. This makes sense as they are on the hook for these massive liabilities and debts. Rob Arnott, a well-known financial manager, opined in the Wall Street Journal just last week that the unfunded actuarial accrued liabilities are like an additional mortgage on homes. It will hurt owners and renters alike. SCA 8 would eliminate the California rule and give municipalities the ability to negotiate pension formulas down on a going forward prospective basis. I believe management needs this tool. It would also give bargaining units an honorable way to save their pension systems before a bankruptcy judge does a cram down to them. Colleagues, we need to lead on this issue. Do not be confused. The Staff Digest is exaggerating. SCA 8 will not eliminate promised retiree benefits to current employees. It would allow for a blended benefit. Employees would keep what they have actually earned, but they may see a lower formula going forward. Bargaining units know that there are little or no benefits if there is no employer. They need to protect the fiscal well-being of the employer. Providing this tool is critical for a number of municipalities. Without it, a federal judge like Judge Rhodes in Detroit will reduce the benefit for everyone, including current retirees. There are two other cases that are active: Alameda County Deputy Sheriff's Association et al. Versus Alameda County Employee Retirement Association et al. And CAL FIRE Local 2881 versus CalPERS. If the end result of judicial decisions render SCA 8 unnecessary, then we can pull it from the ballot. If these court cases drag on, we should lead and support SCA 8. It certainly reflects the governor's position on this critical fiscal matter, and I respectfully request an aye vote. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition?
Thank you, Terry.
Get rid of me.
Before you begin, I note that we do have a quorum, so I'm going to ask the secretary to please call the roll to establish the quorum.
Penn.
Here.
Penn present. Morel. Here. Morel present. Leyva. Morlock.
Present.
Morlock present. Portantino.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Thank you. So opposition. Please continue. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, members, Terry Brennan on behalf of SEIU California. We respectfully oppose this piece of legislation. As the good senator rightfully outlined, it does overturn the California rule. 62 years of precedent in California that basically says a promise made is a promise kept. You earn this benefit from the day you decide to take the position until the day you retire. You put away your own money, and the employer puts away money for you in expectation of that benefit. Changing that benefit going forward is a taking from your compensation and your benefits. We passed, I shouldn't say we, you passed pension reform in PEPRA in 2013, and that has gone a long way to solving some of this unfunded liability problem, or at least leveling off the increase. As a matter of fact, it's saved in the neighborhood of $60 to $100 billion, and it's working much faster than any of the projections we got when it was going through the legislature. The turnover's been faster in the public sector. It's saving billions and billions of dollars and will on into the future. And I would say, lastly, all the workers, public and private, deserve a livable pension and health benefits. Taking away or reducing their pension will not address the need to care for our workforce when they retire. Retiring them into a poverty with a low benefit is not a way to encourage public sector commitment to public service. And for that reason, we oppose the bill.
Next witness.
Mr. Chairman and members, Dave Lowe with the California School Employees Association, also representing the Californians for Retirement Securities, representing over 1 million public employees, police officers, teachers, firefighters, school employees, city and county employees. So we strongly oppose this. Just a couple of points to some of the points Mr. Morlock made. He gave you a lot of numbers about unfunded liability, but the fact is that California's unfunded liability is going to be bigger because California is bigger. The fact is California's pension systems are in much better shape than many of the other nations' pension systems, which is why they've had problems in Chicago and other cities and other states. The reality is that despite the Great Recession, the California pension systems have done a great job of stabilizing their pensions. And as a percentage of state budget, the staff in the Assembly and the Senate have done an analysis that shows that as a percentage of state budget, the cost of pensions is actually going down, not up. So our opponents on the pension issue have been saying now for 25 years, pension systems are going to bust the budget. They're, and that has not been true at all. California's budget is stable. We have just, I think, gone from sixth to fifth in the largest budgets in the nation, and largest assets in the nation. And the relative cost of pensions has not gone out of control as they've been predicting for 25 years, and they won't, because pensions are funded over the long term, and they fluctuate. And the returns go up, they go down, but over time, all the systems have the money necessary to provide the benefits that they are promised right now. And employees go to the bargaining table on a regular basis to make adjustments when necessary. So over 400 contracts have been adjusted locally in cities and counties where employees have agreed to pay more out of their paychecks for pensions. They've agreed to reduce benefits for new employees, and they've stabilized systems locally very similarly to how Governor Brown has stabilized the system at the state level. This measure is unneeded, it's unfair, and we strongly oppose.
Thank you. Other witnesses in opposition?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Senators Joshua Local with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. For the reasons stated by Mr. Brennan and Mr. Lowe, we're also in strong opposition.
Good afternoon, Mario Guerrero on behalf of the California Faculty Association. We also align our comments with previous commentators. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members, Michael Young with the California Labor Federation. We're also opposed.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Joycelyn Martinez-Wade with the California State Teachers Retirement System, also in opposition.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Stephanie Dowdle with the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges, and we are also strongly opposed.
Thank you.
Dave Walrath, representing California Retired Teachers Association, also in opposition.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Pat Moran with Aaron Reed and Associates, representing CAL FIRE Local 2881, California Association of Professional Scientists, Professional Engineers in California Government, Orange County Employees Association, Peace Officers Research Association of California, and the Retired Public Employees Association, all in opposition.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. Ivan Carrillo with the Association of California School Administrators, in opposition.
Okay, thank you. Okay, questions from committee members? Senator Morrell.
Sure, yeah. Being on the PERS committee, I've learned quite a bit. And I'm concerned. I want to make sure everybody gets their pension and what's due. A couple months ago, we had, as you know, dinner with the governor, and he invites half of the senators over, then the other half. And so I think this was for public use because he said it in front of about 20 of us. I know he's trying to make the pensions right, but he said he told us all in 3 to 4 years to be careful because this will, and I don't remember the terminology he used, either it's going to explode or a tsunami, but anyway, it was a warning from our governor who cares about these pensions that there is a looming crisis according to him. And so that concerns me. And then over the years, as I've been on this committee with you, I've had some of the actuaries speak, and you ask them questions, and they can't always give you concise answers, which which if that was my money, I would be very concerned, because it's almost like they tried leading you down rabbit trails instead of giving you direct answers. And so I'm in support of this, because I know outside of talking about CalPERS and CalSTRS, I think it was the Hoover Institute said that the two demographics that are leaving California are highly educated young professionals and then upper middle class people. Basically, the bulk of the people leaving California are taxpayers. And so that means collecting taxes in the future is going to go down, which means it's going to be tougher and tougher to somehow reconcile all these promised benefits. And that's why I'm going to move the bill, because I think Senator Morlock's trying to actually save this, and he's a friend to fire and police and teachers. But sometimes these things do take 20 years or so. But that warning, I think I see it coming, based on, again, some of the things that I've heard from CalPERS directly themselves. But when the governor said that, kind of sent a chill down my spine, or up my leg, or whatever. But anyway, so thank you, and again, I moved the bill, but appreciate you bringing it forward.
Thank you. So the bill's been moved. I just want to say is that I appreciate your interest and the conversation. I mean, my concern is that when you make a promise to someone about your compensation, it's important that we keep those promises. Also, that from a public policy standpoint, it's important that as our population is aging, is that our retirees are able to retire with dignity and be independent. Otherwise, actually, we will end up paying for it anyway, since it's usually the state and our local governments that have to make up any deficiencies through various public services and welfare and so forth. So unfortunately, I'm not able to support this bill at this time. I appreciate why you brought it forward. I do think the courts are certainly looking at this, but I do feel strongly that when someone is employed and they start a job, that their compensation is that part of the compensation needs to be honored. So with that, would you like to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate your comments. It was a real honor to have Terry Brennan and David Lowe at the same table. I wish I had given you my cell phone. For a little photo op. But maybe for the next one, we can have you take a photo. But Mr. Chair, I appreciate what Senator Morell said. I am not here to be a thorn in the side of my buddies in the union world here. I am trying to protect the pensions so that when our employees retire, they get their benefits. And so that's the goal. The issue is how do we provide a workout opportunity before going to Chapter 9 bankruptcy court, where a federal judge can unwind bargaining unit agreements? So how do we allow our managers and our bargaining units to address and fix something before it's done to them by a federal judge? And I know that it isn't just the defined benefit pension plans that are causing a lot of municipalities to have troubles. They've made some other decisions that maybe they shouldn't have made, but cumulatively it kind of adds to the consternation and the cash flow problems. So we're looking at, say, school districts. Some of these numbers are dramatic. LA County, if you look at the Los Angeles Unified School District, CAFR, their unrestricted net deficit is $10.5 billion. It's dramatic. So what happens when too big to fail, starts to have a real issue with cash flow, et cetera? So that's why I'm proposing SCA 8, so that you have a tool for municipalities to somehow work with the bargaining units to do something prospectively to save the plan for everyone. Because what happened in Detroit should give us a little taste of what happens. The judge reduced the benefits of retirees. And so their benefits were reduced, so their monthly checks were impacted. So we're concerned about the retirees, and that's why I'm presenting this recommendation, just to give a tool to protect not only current employees, but our retirees as well. So with that, Mr. Chair, thank you for indulging me, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Okay, thank you. It's been moved by Senator Morell. The motion is passed. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so the motion would be re-refer to Senate Elections Constitutional Amendments Committee. Secretary, please call the roll.
Penn?
No.
Penn, no. Morel?
Aye.
Morel, aye. Leyva? No. Leyva, no. Morlock?
Aye.
Morlock, aye. Portantino?
Okay, the bill is currently at 2-2. We'll put the bill on call.